Okay, you know that thing we all do when you're about to say something real, something that actually matters to you, and right before it comes out your mouth, you catch yourself and you're like, wait, let me soften this. Let me add a little laugh so it doesn't sound too serious. Let me throw in I don't know, maybe it's just me, just in case. Yeah, we're not doing that anymore. That's what we're getting into today. What it actually looks like when you stop editing yourself in real time. Not the Instagram caption version, not the motivational quote version, the real, messy, lived out version of what changes when you decide to just be yourself. Okay, babe, before we move on, make sure you're subscribed. These episodes are designed to work together, and if you are ready to move differently this season, you'll want access to all of them. Okay, let's get into it. Welcome back to the series Unavailable for Self-Abandonment, a series for women who are done negotiating with themselves. This is for the woman who's confident enough to disappoint because self-trust is now the new standard. Here, confidence is more than a feeling. It's a belief formed through action, practice, and repetition. It's what you do when it would be easier to explain yourself, perform, or betray what you already know is true for you. So if you are ready to stop abandoning yourself just to keep the peace, you are in the right place. Hey, queen, welcome back. So let me just get you caught up to speed. I was talking to somebody recently and she said something that I think you're probably already feeling. She was like, Letitia, I know I'm supposed to be authentic. I know I need to stop people pleasing, set the boundaries and all that. But what does that actually look like? Because honestly, I feel like I'm just out here guessing. And I was like, no worry, friend. I get it because we've all seen the post, right? Be authentic, show up fully, don't dim your light. Cool. Love that for us. But when you're in the group chat trying to figure out if you should say something about the thing that's bothering you, or you're sitting across from your partner wondering if tonight is the night that you finally have that conversation, or you find yourself in a meeting biting your tongue because you don't want to be that person. Be authentic doesn't really help you in that moment now, does it? You need to know what it actually looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like when you're actually doing it. So that's what we're working on in this episode. I'm walking you through what living unedited actually looks like in real life. Real moments, real relationships, real decisions. Because here's what I know. Living unedited isn't about being reckless with your words or oversharing every single thought. It's about being so connected to yourself that you stop abandoning who you are just to make other people comfortable. Because once you start doing that, everything shifts. So let me be clear about what I mean when I say unedited, because I'm not saying blurt out every thought that crosses your mind, be harsh, and then call it keeping it real. Trauma dumping in spaces that aren't safe for that, or just completely reject all social awareness and vibe with zero filter. No. When I say living unedited, I mean you stop performing a version of yourself that isn't even true just because you're trying to avoid discomfort, rejection, or even conflict. That's it. It means you are the same woman in every room, not because you're inflexible or can't read a room, but because you are integrated. You don't switch up your values depending on who's around. You don't shrink what's true for you based on who might be listening. You don't spend 20 minutes rehearsing what you're going to say because you're trying to control how somebody else is going to take it. Living unedited is a identity decision. It's you deciding, I'm allowed to take up space as I am. I'm allowed to have needs and opinions and boundaries. I'm allowed to be fully seen, even if that makes someone else uncomfortable for a second. And here's the thing I really want you to get. The goal is not to stop caring about what people think. The goal is to care more about staying connected to yourself than controlling how they react. That's the whole shift right there. When you live unedited, you are not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be honest. And honest doesn't mean harsh. Honest means clear, grounded, real. Okay, so what does it actually look like to do that day to day? Let me give you some real examples because this is where it gets practical. In conversations. Now, the edited version, someone says something that you don't agree with, but you just laugh it off. You're like, yeah, that's right. Even though you're sitting there thinking that it totally is not. You nod along because it's easier than stopping the flow of conversation. Living unedited means you pause and you say something like, I actually see it a little differently, or that's not really landing for me. Or even just, oh, interesting. Now, let me fill you in on how I see it. You don't have to make it a whole thing. You don't have to prove your point or convince anyone. You just stop erasing yourself to keep things smooth. In relationships, now with the edited version, your partner asks what you want to do tonight, and you're like, I don't care, whatever you want. Even though you've been dreaming about a quiet night in all week long. Living unedited means you say, actually, I'd really just love to stay in tonight. Maybe order something and just chill. And if they want to go out, cool. You can have a conversation about it, but you don't delete your own preference before it even gets a chance to exist. At work, you have the edited version where someone assigns you extra work that is definitely not in your job description. You say yes immediately because you don't want to seem difficult. And then you do the work while silently resenting every single second of it. Living unedited means you say, let me check my capacity and get back to you. Or you can say, I can take this on, but I'll need to shift these few things and actually list them out and then say, does that work? You honor what you can actually handle. You communicate clearly. You stop over functioning just to prove you're valuable. Now let's talk about being in the social media streets. As the edited version, you write a post straight from your heart. Then you read it back and you're like, oof, this seems like it just feels too much. People are going to think I'm being extra. So you delete it and post something that feels safe instead, something that won't ruffle any feathers. Well, living unedited means you post what's actually true for you, not for shock value, not to perform vulnerability, but because it's what you are really feeling, thinking, or walking through. And you trust that the people who are meant for you will get it. And the ones who don't, they won't. And both are completely okay. Everyone has free will to follow you, silence you, or block you completely on social media if that's what they feel that they need to do. That is not about you. That's about them and where they are. So allow everybody to have the space and the free will to choose for themselves just like you do. Okay, now let's talk about in decision making, because the edited version, you make decisions based on what's going to make somebody else happy. You stay in situations way too long, more than you should because leaving feels selfish. Well, living unedited instead means you ask yourself, what do I actually want here? And then you let that answer matter. You stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to choose yourself. Living unedited does not make you selfish. It makes you honest. And honest is literally the foundation for anything real. You cannot build authentic connections and relationships on a version of yourself where you're constantly performing. You can't create a life you actually love if you're constantly editing your truth to fit in to other people's comfort zones. It just doesn't work like that. And in your heart of hearts, you know that to be true. Okay, friend, let's pause for the cause. Relief is real, but relief alone does not create change. What most women notice is that without a system to return to, the same old patterns, the old self-doubts, they start running the show again. The main character momentum builder was created for that exact gap. It helps you build momentum from self-love, not pressure, so alignment becomes something you live day to day. This is for the woman who wants to stop relying on motivation alone and start moving with steadiness. If that sounds like you, the main character momentum builder is waiting for you below in the show notes. All right, so let's get into how to actually make all of this real. We're going to do our favorite, the self-love two-step. And this one is called the unedited practice. So that way you are living intentionally and unedited. Step 1, notice when you're editing yourself in real time. Just pay attention to when you soften your words before they come out, when you throw in, just kidding, after you say something that you meant with your whole chest, when you say yes, but your whole body is screaming no, or when you delete your preferences before anyone ever knows that you had them in the first place. Just notice. Don't try to fix it right away. This is not the space to judge yourself. No shame and no shade. Just be like, oh, I just did that thing. I just edited myself. Why did I feel like I had to do that? That's it. Just self-awareness, because that self-awareness is literally where all behavior change actually starts. Step 2, practice saying one unedited truth per day. Just start small. Maybe it's actually, I'd rather have tea, or I need a second before I respond to that, or simply saying that doesn't work for me. Or, you know what? Here's what I really think. It doesn't have to be some big dramatic moment. It just has to be true. And every single time you speak an unedited truth, even a tiny one, you are building self-trust. You're literally proving to yourself, I can honor my truth and still be safe. I can be honest and still be loved. I can take up space and the world does not collapse. And now from this place, pause and ask yourself, what would be my next aligned step? Remember, we are collaborating up in here. I give you the framework, the tools, and the encouragement, but the most important step you take is the one that comes from your heart. So listen, what's your heart telling you to do next? That is the practice. Ooh, friend. Now, let me pour into you real quick. Living unedited doesn't mean you're never going to feel nervous before you say your truth. It doesn't mean people are always going to receive what you say the way you hope. It doesn't mean there won't be moments when you're like, did I just say too much? Should I have not said that? And that's okay, because here's what I know for sure. every single time you choose to stay connected to yourself instead of performing for someone else's comfort, you get stronger. Every time you honor your truth, even when your voice is shaky and you're a little scared, you're building the kind of confidence that nobody can give you or take away from you. You become the kind of woman who doesn't need permission to fully exist. And that's that main character energy right there. You weren't meant to live some toned down, watered down, playing small version of your life. You were meant to show up fully, to speak clearly, to take up space without apologizing for it, to be the same woman in every single room, not because you're stubborn, but because you're real. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. One unedited truth at a time, one honest conversation at a time, one moment of staying connected to yourself at a time. You're not being difficult, you're being honest. And honest is where all the best stuff grows. Okay, friend. So what I want you to do this week is practice that self-love two-step. Notice when you're editing and speak one unedited truth a day. That's it, just those two things. And if you want support actually building this kind of self-trust and confidence on repeat, grab the main character momentum builder because it was designed for this. In 30 days of practice, it helps you to build your self-trust through small aligned actions, to stay connected to yourself even when life gets chaotic, to stop abandoning your truth just to keep the peace. Because truth be told, if there's no peace within, honey, there's no peace on the outside either. Because momentum isn't about doing more. It's about becoming the woman who actually follows through on what matters to her. You can grab it right on the website, encourageovereverything.com shop, or you can just click the link in the show notes. And if this episode hit for you, share it. Tag me on YouTube at EO_E and let me know what landed for you. Because the more we normalize this whole living unedited thing, the easier it gets for everybody. Okay? Okay. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to be honest. You are allowed to completely live unedited. And remember, being confident enough to disappoint might be the most loving thing you ever do, because every time you choose alignment over attachment, you strengthen the belief that you can trust yourself. The moment you reconnect to your standard, self-trust deepens. Stay unavailable for self-abandonment. Okay, friend? And I'll see you in the next episode.